And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success, Treasure Valley. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. Today I have a guest with me. His name is Chad Vaughn. It runs Locals Only, which is an IG page.
Correct. And a YouTube page as well.
And a YouTube page. Awesome. And then 1-1 Productions, which is a social media marketing, right?
Yeah,
or marketing.
a production company of sorts. Yeah, so we do some social media marketing. I'm also working on a documentary right now with one of my clients. Filmmaking is really what I'm passionate about and what I work towards. But obviously, we live in a world of video, so social media content and any other kind of content is a no-brainer to do for local business around here.
Yeah, and it's awesome. We were talking a little bit earlier because, this is more more in front of the camera, and
Yep.
you said you like to be behind the camera where you're kind of doing the producing and things like that,
Yep.
which is really cool. I think that like with this podcast, like we were talking about earlier, for me, it's a good way to help other people find a market for what they're doing. And it's awesome to kind of share that in how they're able to help other people in the community. Because like with me being a new business and just starting out, a lot of people don't know where to go or who to network with and how to network with. And I can sit down and just have like a cup of coffee with you. But really all we're getting out of that is a conversation that goes nowhere, where they can watch the whole video and they can know where it's at. So talk a little bit about your background, kind of like where you came from, how you got into businesses that you started.
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised in a small town in called Farmington, New Mexico. Kind of the northwest corner up there by Colorado, the Four Corners area. I actually grew up around production. My dad did advertisement for the local TV station in the 90s when it was booming, when cable was popular. And so I was constantly around the production, the back end, the news anchors, just kind of seeing how all that worked, all the editing tools. I mean, they had more editing software than this room back then in the 90s, and now you have it on one tiny little drive. So it's amazing to see the technology shift. But yeah, I've essentially been around it my whole life. He was in TV, the radio, so I've done remotes. I've grown up around kind of event-based promotion. Went to college in Albuquerque at the University of New Mexico. Got a degree in education, K through 8, science endorsement.
Hey, you and me both.
Really?
I have a master's in innovation and technology, and I'm a PE teacher, or I was a PE teacher.
way.
So yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's how I met our friend Rance, who introduced us.
Really?
Yeah, he was in kinesiology department at BSU when I was, and obviously I'm a lot older than Rance, so, but it was a second career. I worked at Les Schwab for 11 years and then went back to school because I flunked out the first time and became a teacher, and then just kind of realized it wasn't really for me. But
yeah, the pay's not there, right?
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me. As I got out of college and was like, how much? Like, that's not enough.
Yeah.
So after graduation, I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And I just substitute taught to make ends meet. And I started a photography studio. It's $425 a month for it's probably like a 25-foot long by 15-foot wide, just shotgun room. Painted it myself, decorated it, spent a bunch of money. And then I was never there. A lot of the stuff I did was on location, like weddings or events. And so I kind of learned that lesson the hard way. First real business lesson was like I wasted almost $5,000 that year on a studio I barely was at, furnishing it, all the other things, and I kind of realized next time I'm not going to do it this way. And so my wife and I moved to Denver around 2012, 2013, and I moved there actually I had worked at REI in Albuquerque, outdoor store, right? Love the outdoors. And I was making nothing, man. I think when I moved to Denver, I was making like $10.50 an hour. And I had to commute across the city. So I had to drive, get on a train, take a train an hour, and then do it all the way back. And sometimes it was like 5-hour shifts. And you're like, this is a waste of time. I remember vividly standing in this massive, because it's their flagship store in Denver. So it's they did a $50 million renovation on an old power warehouse, essentially, the old generating station. I'm standing in this $50 million building, and it's like football Sunday, and so all the Broncos people are outside tailgating, drinking, beer pong. The whole parking lot's filled with Broncos fans, and no one's inside shopping. And I'm just like this sad kid in the window. And it was like at a moment, I'm like, there's definitely something better in this city to do than this. So I just quit eventually and was like, I'm going to go find something. Found a job on Craigslist, actually, doing event marketing, promotional marketing. So I would show up and essentially just sample drinks The company it's huge now because Coke bought into it. It's called Fairlife Milk.
Okay.
Core Power Protein.
Oh yeah, yep. I got some of that in my refrigerator.
Yep. So before they were big, they were a smaller company and they were looking for an investment from Coca-Cola, and that was right around the time I started working for them.
Okay.
And so my boss, she had a $1 million marketing budget for that market in Denver, and I essentially got 2 jobs. I could go sample for the milk company and for the protein company because they were the same, but they paid 2 different rates. They paid almost double what I was making at REI. So I got just basically, they were like, you can work as much as you want, make as much as you want.
Yeah.
And it really opened my eyes to like, there's a lot of money in marketing, right? These companies had $1 million marketing retainers with local agencies that it just blew my mind that this is how. But now it's shifted obviously because of the internet and influencers. It's kind of been fractured out amongst them. But that was my first real kind of understanding of how big marketing is and how big it can get. I'd been doing photo and video, so I kind of just weaseled my way in and said, hey, I'll shoot content of the stuff we're doing. You can send it back up the corporate ladder to make yourself look good in the market. And my boss was like, that's fantastic. Let's do it. So I was not only getting paid for my hours, but she was paying me hours for my video work too. I finally started to hustle my way into making money doing that.
That's a tough thing too, because like most people don't really understand what it takes. Like there's times where like I've reached out to people to be on here, and like a lot of times they're like, well, what are you going to charge me? Because everyone that has reached out to me to want to do this is like, what are you going to charge me? And at first it becomes a hobby, like you're doing it as a hobby. Like I've done 400 plus episodes of this podcast, and it's kind of shifted back and forth, and I've probably made a couple $100 on it over the 5 years. Right. But it's amazing that you have to have that kind of passion, and if you can do that, then you're able to kind of turn that into something that could be a career.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's kind of something most people don't have is passion. If you don't have a passion or a direction or want to do something, then you're just doing nothing.
Right.
You're kind of just doing whatever you're told to do. And I've never been that person. So those jobs definitely help me kind of flourish because I'm a people person. I'm talkative, obviously. Like I like to be around people.
Right.
And it kept me out of an office. I didn't want to sit in a cubicle and make calls, which is funny because from there, so I did marketing for that brand and then started working for a tech startup actually in Denver.
Okay.
So I started working for a tech startup. The boss that I had at these milk jobs left. They actually cut her pay after she secured him a $30 million investment from Coke.
Wow.
She did great in that market.
Yeah.
They got the investment, and they're like, we're going to pay you $5,000 less. And she was like, I quit. So then they had me do her job for a while, and then I was like, they tried to get me to start selling for Coca-Cola, and I'm like, no, I'm in marketing. Like, I'm not part of Coke. And so eventually I left, and she had gone to the tech startup to work for them. So she helped me get on there, and then she left the tech startup because the tech startup was a complete cluster. I mean, it was fraud.
They usually are, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I can't imagine most tech startups aren't some level of like ignorance and fraud because you're giving 27-year-olds, $250,000.
Yeah, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to run a business. They don't know where the money should go. They're
No.
kind of like spending it on things that they probably shouldn't have. I just like picture like a lot of, hey, we're going to go out to have drinks after this, and we're going to go spend this money that we should be using on it, but we'll write it off as a business expense and just stuff like that.
Yep. And then they just lie to investors on calls about what you're generating, and they're not.
Yeah.
So that was really my I would say my grad school was that tech startup. It was super interesting, just the way it all unfolded. It was fraud. The CFO was essentially paying employees through the site and lying about generating revenue to the investors through paying people through the site. I mean, it was all fake, and he was making up numbers, and it just got sketchy. It got so stressful that my buddy and I, who worked at REI, I got him a job up there. We were the last 2 working because everyone quit because it was like, this is sketchy.
Right.
Or they got fired by the CFO who was kind of sketchy. He got so stressed, he got shingles. And I was like, I'm going to pull the ripcord. Like, I'm starting to feel like stress is really getting to my health. And it was a interesting situation to say the least. But,
let's talk about that a little bit because something that interests me is that there are people, like I've been in this scenario, like the same exact scenario that you're talking about. You're working for something that you don't necessarily believe in. You have a lot of integrity, and you're watching things be wrong in the background.
Yep.
It's a difficult conversation to have with yourself because you're surviving off of the money that you're making, right? Like,
Absolutely.
and it's got you where you're at. Like I have totally been there. And the tough decision is to walk away from something like that, because now you have to decide what are you going to do after.
Yep.
So how did that play into it? Like, I mean, were you really stressed about like being? I mean, I'm surprised you didn't get shingles.
I started getting stress hives on my hands, and I was like, I don't want to get shingles. My wife's in medicine, so she's like, he got shingles because he's so stressed out. It's obvious. Like, so you should quit if you need to quit. And so, yeah, honestly, it was a tough decision, but it really does come down to, like you said, integrity and dignity. I mean, the guy was, it was started to get real disrespectful, and it was like, you need to choose work over your personal life and stuff. And it was like, okay, well, now we've crossed a threshold to where that's unacceptable.
Yeah, you're just struggling. Like, and that's the thing. It's like they're trying to pull the ripcord and save it from burning down, because they don't have an option at this point.
Yep.
And so everything they have to do, they rely on everyone else to pull this together for them.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
And that was this guy. He was 100% like that. It's funny. We got him. So I started out just doing cold calls. We were scraping Craigslist for leads. Mm-hmm. Essentially what it was like an Angie's List or a Thumbtack, but it was for more like outdoor and adventure stuff, yoga instructors, photography, ski and snowboard instructing, that kind of stuff. We just quickly found out that Forest Service won't allow you to instruct and resorts won't allow you to instruct. And so that like kind of crashed, right? That idea of like, oh, you can just sign up as a ski instructor on our site. So that was what we were trying to do, is create this like Upwork freelancing kind of website. So one of the things we did was there's a big event in Vail every year called the GoPro Mountain Games. Mm-hmm. And it's essentially GoPro pays Vail like $2 million to take over their village right before they open for summer. So nothing's open yet, can't really hurt anything. And they fill it with all kinds of outdoor vendors and events, fly fishing, kayaking, paddleboarding. Slacklining is one of the big ones, like trick slacklining.
Yeah.
And so that was real big in Denver, and I knew a bunch of the people in that community. And so I managed to use my video again, my value, to get us a sponsorship at the event for free, essentially. If I just did some video work, they'd give us a tent space in the pit around everybody, the crowds, all of it. And so I secured that for the company, and we go up, and the CFO's there with us, and he makes this comment where he's like, I really didn't have a vision of or like really understand what this company was until now. And I'm kind of like, I was taken aback. I'm like, this is your company. How do you not know what it is? How am I the one doing all this work and you don't even know what's going on? And so it was just a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
He wasn't present, didn't understand, lied to everybody, lied to the partners about the amount of money they had secured. Apparently wasn't what he told them. And so it was just chaos. But at some point I just realized I was the value. And so I can go find and do this somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I had some connections through the industry. So I went and did some more promotional marketing for a kombucha brand after that. Mm-hmm. And just kind of.
So like all of this without having a degree in marketing, right?
Correct.
You had a degree in education.
Yep.
So
100%.
That's one of the things that I like to tell people about this, because like a lot of people think that you have to, I mean, I don't know how old you are. I'm 44. I have to think about it because I'm like going to be 45.
I'll be 38 this year.
Okay. So you were part of this generation where you go to, you get out of high school, but they're telling you the whole 4 years you're in high school that you have to have a degree. That's the only way you're going to be successful, right? And you go and get this degree.
Yep.
That's a piece of paper that says that you did this thing. And like in education, to me, it's like, I don't want to say that teachers can't do what they do. Like I love teaching. I thought it was great. That's why I do this podcast, because I feel like this is actually helping a form of teaching, right?
Absolutely.
But the reality is that like any job that you could do, in my opinion, could be, and again, that's my opinion, but it could be done by hands-on experience, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. It's like, well, I don't have the education to get this job. And there was this time where everyone had to have a degree in what they were doing. They had to have a degree in marketing, they had a degree in business or whatever it is. But now we've opened it up that like, that's not necessary.
Yep.
So it's really amazing to me that you're doing what you're doing and you don't even have a degree in it. And that's something that a lot of people need to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possible.
And that's one of the things I kind of made a hybrid out of my situation, in the sense that all advertising and marketing is education. You're mm-hmm. educating the client or the consumer on your product or your service or whatever it is through either visuals or text or whatever you're using, funny videos, funny pictures. You're essentially educating them on what are you trying to sell me? I need to educate that person before I can get them to agree to give me their money.
Right.
And so I've kind of used that educational approach in my marketing and with my business and tried to kind of integrate the two. But no, you're totally right. If you had a marketing degree from when I was in college, it wouldn't be any good today because they're teaching social media in marketing classes now. It didn't even, I mean, it existed, but to the level and platform it is now,
it was, let's put it in the phone book, let's put it in the newspaper,
yes.
let's put it on TV. Like those are the scenarios that you have. And like,
yep.
The amazing thing about today, which does make it tougher, but it also is easy, is the fact that putting the content out is easy. Finding that niche of where it's going, you know, like,
yep, because it's a big sea of internet out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I struggle with right now in my own business is like, I know who my demographic is, but trying to figure out how to get to that demographic is the hard part.
Yep.
And then once you get to that demographic, if you're in a area where there's a lot of people doing it, like motivational podcasts, it's very big. There's lots of people who do that.
Yep.
And so what
podcasting in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
What's different about mine?
Yep.
That makes me, you know, you look at Joe Rogan, like what's he doing? And I put that because that's like the gold standard, right?
Yep.
But why would someone listen to me rather than listen to someone else? And like that's what it's about, finding your market.
Yep, absolutely. And it's interesting too to see the shift in marketing mediums because, like I said, I grew up around TV station. Mm-hmm. TV station got put out of business by the satellite. That's how that was quick.
And
satellite
and TiVo, right? Like
yep,
we
TiVo.
can pause this and we can fast forward
yep,
or we
radio,
can record it.
TV is dead.
Yeah.
YouTube absolutely crushes TV. And outside of that, now you got social media pages that can get, I mean, hundreds of millions of views.
Right.
That's more than some TV stations do in a decade. I mean, so the penetration of information and media has definitely ramped compared to billboards. Like, for instance, once again, like I worked in billboards for a while. Mm-hmm. I grew up around that. My dad still does some billboard stuff. And
I've wondered, is that still kind of like, is it still
depending on the market? Absolutely, yeah, because there's still areas where people drive a lot. You know, mm-hmm. they live out in the. I mean, you're out here. You're not right next to town, and so there's still areas that print marketing and stuff like that work. Also, there's digital billboards now; those are everywhere.
Right.
But it is interesting that there's certain markets where people will pay, you know, $1,500 a month for a bill. I mean, they'll do it out here in Fruitland or in Ontario.
Yeah, depending on where you're at, next to a truck stop, trying to get.
Yeah, that's a $2,000 board a month, and so there is a market for that, but it's few and far between, and it's not as saturated like this. Right. Digital is way more saturated.
Yeah, because this can go out to and the funny thing about it is like it can go out to millions of people.
Yep.
If you get them hooked into it.
Yep, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that's the other thing too. Funny you say that. I was listening recently to Gary Vaynerchuk talk about how it's not social media anymore; it's interest media.
Yeah.
People need to be interested in what you're doing, and they have to be invested in it. Which is why I think you see a lot more of the approach like this. You put yourself in front of the camera. That's something, you know, I tell my clients, you got to get in front of the camera because you have to build a relationship with the consumer before they meet you. They have to feel comfortable to approach you or to reach out. And that's kind of that first wall is create a personality and put it out there and actually let them get to know who you are.
Yeah. And that's what I've been talking to. So I own my company with another individual. So we have, you know, my business partner, Skylar, doesn't like to be in front of the camera. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have a problem with is like they talk about like, this is how I look. I don't like my voice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be in front of it. That's not me.
Yep.
And I was that person a long time ago, but in the last 5 years, it's kind of opened it up to me. It's like people see me every single day. You know, they know who I am.
Yep.
I can be upset with the way that I look. I can not like that my nose is big or something like that. People don't see it that way.
Nope.
And I think once you understand that, like, people don't look at you the same way you look at yourself. You
Absolutely.
are your biggest bully. So if you can get past that and stop bullying yourself or just be okay with who you are,
yep,
it's very easy to be able to get in front of the camera and do whatever you want. Like, I mean, TikTok's one of those ones where it's like, I don't want people seeing my TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, because like I am so real on TikTok with like everything. Like I'm driving down the road and I see something and I'm like, you know what? We're going to talk about this. This is stupid. Like people don't know how to use a roundabout. People don't know how to use a four-way stop. Like you just those everyday things
totally right.
that you just get mad about and you're like, forget this. Like I'm not going to argue about that. Like those are real things. And when people see that, like they convey that same kind of sentiment. Like you just said, like, I get it.
That's
this
relatable.
is totally true.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I can't stand it. Circles are great. I love them. But not when someone treats it like a 4-way stop.
Yep. You are absolutely right.
Which everyone here does.
You're absolutely right. No, it's it's and as a becoming a business owner as well, it's kind of like you're kind of thrust into, you're representing you and your business every day. So get comfortable.
Yeah.
Like you're not hiding as an employee anymore. You are the face of the business and you have to deal with every single person. You are customer service, you're all of it. So get comfortable with interacting, or maybe small business ownership isn't for you if you're that uncomfortable with interaction,
or have someone who's willing to do that.
Correct.
And that's kind of like where we're at. It's like, I'm willing to do that. That's my job. Is number one, I sell interior shades, he sells exterior shades, he's the installer. You know, like I didn't install at my previous job, but now I am starting to learn how to install, so I will install interior stuff once I get up to speed on it. Right. But then I'm the marketing guy. So like, this is part of my marketing. Absolutely. Like I told you, like, I think this is a great way to have a network with someone who I didn't know. Yep. You know, I had Rance on here, who is a friend of mine that I met in college, who introduced me to a bunch of people. And then that, you know,
introduced us. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great. Like, I love this. I think it's great. Like, I think it's a great connection, and that's, you know, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And I love the entrepreneurial vibe that everybody has, kind of taking your own destiny in your own hands, as opposed to just, like I say, waiting for something to happen, make something happen. That's why I love the night birdies that Rance and Shane do. That was my first night golf that I got to play, was their tournament, and it was so much fun. Dude.
I was so bummed out because he did one in New Meadows, and my parents live in New Meadows on the golf course.
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, I got up there. I actually went up for that weekend, didn't even think about it. I knew he was doing it there, but I didn't know when it was. Right. And I landed on the day that it was. I was like, oh, man. I could have signed up for this. I could have played in this.
And New Meadows is beautiful, man. Yeah. That area is gorgeous.
It's awesome. And like, so instead I'm sitting, I can see the 10th hole. And luckily they had, because they only did they ended up doing 10 because he needed to do an extra hole because they sold the whole thing out. Right. And I could see the balls just flying.
Just little tracers.
Yeah, it was freaking cool. I mean, it's cool to know that like Rance was doing that and that's his deal.
Yeah. And it's only going to get bigger. I mean, they're just going to keep figuring out things, getting better at it, and more people are going to see it and want to do it. And
I think he told me, I think he said that he'd never even played golf like before this. So
really?
Like not like in high school or whatever. He did tennis and football. Yep. I don't think he did golf, and I don't think he was, and trust me, I'm a terrible golfer, but like, what do you do when you're a terrible golfer? You go out and you play, and then like it starts to get worse, and the next thing you know, you start having a drink or so, and you're like, oh, now it's starting to get better, and I'm having a good time, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that's like the night golf thing to me is like, it's like we're starting out partying. Like that's just the way it is, because it's nighttime. We can do this, and it's a cool way to do something.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's a pretty unique experience.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like, so we were in New Mexico, we're in Colorado, we're bouncing around. How'd you land in Boise? Or are you in Boise or are you in?
We're in Boise. Okay. My wife got a job opportunity out here.
Okay.
She's a nurse practitioner in dermatology, so she actually landed pretty much a dream job out here. We went to Denver for her grad school, hung out a while, and then it was time for her to get a job, and it was super competitive out there. So I actually found her job on Indeed for her. I was like, hey, here's one. Try Boise. Got an interview. They flew us out. She shadowed the doctor and been here for 6 years now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just thinking about, you say dermatology, but I was just thinking this morning, there's a guy that I met on TikTok that is actually here, and I'm sure you know who he is. Dustin Portola.
Yeah, Dr. Patel.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy huge. How, like, that's another thing right there. Like, he just started talking about putting sunscreen on. That's where it started, and now all of a sudden he's on these national shows talking about skincare. So it's
100%.
He put himself out there.
Yeah, 100%. So we landed here, and then COVID hit pretty much right after. I think we were here a year, maybe not even a full year. Got locked down, but we did find an opportunity and bought our first home. Basically put in an offer the day the markets crashed in 2020, and so we snuck in before they all exploded. Lucky. Yes, dude. It's like that's my lottery in life. Like snuck in right before it all took off, and so we have a beautiful home. Very blessed for that. And so when we got here and COVID hit, I got fired from the billboard company I was working at. It was remote. They are out in North Dakota, but
remote before remote was a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so they just basically were like, we can't afford you. We got to let you go. I'm like, that's fine. So I was like, I'm just going to go do my own thing. And I'm going to take everything I learned in Denver from all these, I work for Jack Link's Beef Jerky and Coca-Cola, which are $2 billion companies. Yeah. And I just learned what they did, and I scaled it down to what works for me, and I applied a lot of the same things. And that's kind of where Locals Only got born, was my approach to a marketing agency, but not really, because I knew as a small business owner, I had no money. I had no marketing budget. I looked at flyers. I looked at mailers. I priced it all out. It's super expensive.
It is. I've done the same thing. I looked at mailers. And I'm like,
it's insane.
A friend of mine was like, hey, you should look into this. And I looked at it and like, they want you to spend $10,000.
Yes.
They're like, here, put $10,000
into something on the internet. You'll get a better return, I guarantee.
This
it,
is
than
free.
A mail. I was going to say, right?
Well, it's not. I mean, the equipment is
it's
like,
an investment, though.
Yeah, but it's like, it's something that like, you're talking about doing this right. That's about when I started this podcast. It started in my garage, in my house in Star, on one of those Home Depot tables.
Yes.
With another realtor, with an iPad, with a tripod, with a phone on it. You know, I mean, like,
yep.
It's one of those things that's so easy to start, but then you get, like, I got blocked for a while. Like, I recorded a couple episodes, but in my head, I couldn't figure out how to get it uploaded to the damn podcast platform, which turns out super easy.
Yeah.
And then I just started kind of scaling it to a different, like, I don't edit these. Like, this is going to go out. Like, I have my friend Nikki who's sitting in the chat room right now. I can see her. She'll take and she'll clip it and post the clips for me. And then I'll just tag, and like, it's because I'm busy doing all this other stuff. Like, I found some people who will help me do things.
Absolutely.
And she's awesome with it, but that's where it's at. And like, it's super simple to do. I get this set up the way that it is. You know, this is a new thing. This is the third interview I've done in the studio.
Nice.
Most of them are remote.
Yep.
But it's just a learning process. And like, if you can get past it, like, I've had the same mics for a while. I got this mic arm, and these chairs is like the only investment that I've made in a while. And everything else, you just accumulate over time. You figure out what you need. Like, you can see I've got like a bunch of mic stands in here and a bunch of different tripods. It's like, what's going to work? It's kind of a
it's trial and error sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to just kind of try things and see what works for you.
Yep.
What works best.
But yeah, I mean, it's putting yourself out there. So
100%.
COVID happens, you start doing Locals Only, or where to go
so Locals Only started as a Patreon page. So because I knew people didn't have money and no one had a budget, I was like, I'm going to make it super affordable. So it was $5 a month on Patreon, $60 a year. Just pay for a year, 12 months, $5 a month. Help me build it so I can get more people subscribed. Didn't do anything. Half the people paid, half the people just stopped paying.
Dude, that's a tough thing too. Like, I have a page.
It's only $5 a month,
and nothing happens on it. It's like, how do you get people?
It's hard, man.
Yeah, there's people who, like Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. Like, I listened to his pod. It was one of the very first podcasts that I got into, but that's how he keeps his going.
Yep.
And
a lot of people do on Patreon page. I mean, there's a lot of people. I think you have to have an audience first that really, and then you have to have something of value that you're not giving out for free that they're willing to pay. But it's Patreons aren't easy to generate. Yeah. So I did that for a year. Basically gave away a bunch of free work because, I probably made $300 in that year. That was 23. And then 24, my client Roseanne Austin, she used to live here actually. I met her here. So when I moved here, I started working with a studio called Studio Boise, and has new ownership now. But back then, I taught a photo 101 class, an intro to video, and an intro to lighting. And my client now, Roseanne, came and took my class because she was starting to get her podcast going and kind of starting to get her video work, and she wanted to learn lighting. And her and her husband came, and then she eventually was just like, she got there for her husband to learn it so he could do it, and he was like, just hire that guy, he's way better at it. So that's kind of how
now I'm feeling like self-conscious about my setup. It's like, what's he, is he judging me?
No, I'm not the softbox. No, you got it, dude. With the soundproofing, I mean, this is a sweet space.
I mean, it's even got like, when we built the house, I designed this to be a studio. That's what it is.
Good
like
call.
It's got quiet rock in it as well.
Sweet.
So like, it's set up, but it's, it's fun to have like that set up. I don't but the thing is that like, I don't think people understand is they don't need all that stuff. No. Like, you could do this if you're good at editing, you can edit out echoes now. AI is really big about helping you do a bunch of crap.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Stuff like Canva. I mean, you can do a ton of stuff for $12.99 a month on Canva.
Right.
You can really do a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of materials for cheap that you can utilize. Which is what I'm all about. I'm kind of like that dirtbag mentality. I've never had a bunch of money. I've always just kind of scraped by to start my stuff and get my stuff going. But I've just dumped money back into myself. I try not to spend. I just keep reinvesting in cameras and this. I just bought a new camera for the documentary I'm shooting. That was not cheap, but
Oh no, they're not.
They're not. That was not cheap, but
it's like the one that I got. I'm like sitting there going, I need it. I'm like this. The way that it's set up right now, it's a 1-camera thing. I wish I had a second camera, but I went to go look at the second camera, and I'm like, oh, man, I can't believe I paid what I paid for that camera. It's like I gotta wait.
Yeah. And technology, man, there's something new every year. Whether it's a phone or a camera or a microphone, lighting, computers.
I still got the film camera from when I got married.
Oh yeah, dude. I still have some of my film cameras. Absolutely. Yeah. I keep a lot of my old stuff, old MacBooks, and I'm a sentimental guy for sure. Yeah, I can hang on to things for sure.
Yep.
So 2024 last year I did a lot of traveling with my client Roseanne. She did a self-funded book tour around the country and internationally. Mm-hmm. So I went to Canada, Paris.
Oh geez.
And London with her, for her to do kind of like just basically like pop-up seminars, book signings. She does a talk, and really cool to see. And so this year we're working on a documentary for her to kind of tell her story. She's cool. She was a former prosecuting attorney in California and couldn't get pregnant, and so she was like, it's probably my job and how stressful it is. I'm gonna quit.
Right.
Quits her job, gets pregnant naturally at 42, and then built this whole brand and movement around helping women get pregnant naturally. Ages 18 to 52 she's done so far.
Jeez.
I mean, thousands of women, and it's all mindset. She's a mindset coach. She just literally breaks down people's barriers, and just you have to start being more present. You have to really put the work in, and most people don't want to.
Yeah.
Most people just want to get by. And I think that's what separates people who really excel and people who just get by.
Yeah.
Is, you really have to put in the effort. Like you said you've done thousands, hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
You've talked to hundreds of people. Sometimes it's just a matter of putting in the time. I don't know if you've read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
10,000 hours.
Yep. It's the truth.
Right.
I don't care who you are. It's the truth. Ask anybody. And so,
and that's a big thing too, is like, no matter what you do, like I've thought about multiple times, and my friend Jay that I was talking to you about before that has a podcast as well. Like I swear it's like, without it, every 6 months, man, I don't know if I'm doing this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then we talk to each other about it and realize that it's just going to take time, and that's all there is to it. Yep. And like, if you really look at it, like, I've done 420 something episodes, but each one was a half hour. So really it's not even close to 10,000 hours if you really break it down.
Yeah.
So
when you really start to do the math, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a decade worth of effort almost.
Yep.
Just because of, like you said, you're not putting 24 hours a day into something.
Right.
A few hours here, a few hours there. No, I think I've been saying recently that I always like to say effort's more important than the outcome. Because if you don't do anything, there is no outcome.
Right.
You have to take an effort somewhere at some point.
And that's like one of the things that I talk about with my business partner all the time, because I run the social media page. I run the Shade Bros page.
Yep.
And so when I'm putting something up there, he's like, well, take this out and take that out and do this and do that. And I was like, dude, I could sit here and I could not do anything, and then we would have nothing on our page. Yep. I didn't realize that there was a teddy bear underneath that table yesterday when I recorded our exterior shade going up. But now we're not back there. Yep. And now I'm not going to be able to do that. So I either throw that out or I use it.
Yep.
And I'm using it.
Yep. Because don't sit and dwell and think it's got to be this, it's got to be that. Put it out. You know you're good. It's good enough. That's why you made it. So if you made it, just tidy it up and get it out.
Yeah, make it. That's all there is to it. Like I can't. The action problem is a big problem with a lot of people, and that's a block that I don't have. Like I do think about it. Yeah. Like I'll get it as best as I possibly can, but I'm not going to go back and pick apart what I did, because it's going to get better.
Yep.
Like we were talking about sitting in here, like the way that I have this set up. The first one, we're staring right at the camera, and my buddy was like, well, all we see is you sitting there cross-legged, and we see a whole lot of knee. It's like, all right, so let's change this around, because Rance and I were both wearing shorts. It's like, let's change this around, so we'll turn it a little bit. And so the last one I had in here, like I was telling you, we were sitting a little too close, and like we're bumping knees here and there, and it's like, okay, well, that I didn't like the way that looked. What can I do? And like change it again a little bit.
It'll change 50 times before you'll find it. Yeah.
Before you find what you need.
Before you find what you need, you'll do it 100 times probably, and then it'll work.
Yeah, and I can wait to go buy another $700 camera and say, screw it, I'm not going to do it until I can afford that. But it may be a year before I can afford another $700 camera. So screw it. Just do it with what you got.
That was a big thing in my classes that I would teach, is that you don't need, the photographer makes the photo, not the camera. You don't need the newest camera. You can do fine with what you got.
How many people are using their phone?
Which are better than most That's what's crazy. It's technology.
Yeah.
I learned on point and shoot disposables from Walgreens. They were like $12 for 24 exposure. Most of those got wasted because I'm trying to take macro shots of flowers and just blurry. Because it's like, the learning curve and the technological curve has been steep.
Yeah.
It's been steep. So
working on a documentary now. Is this something that I know you said you didn't film in like photography for a while.
Yep.
Have you ever done like a video like that? Like this is a documentary is like a long video, right?
So this is literally, I've been talking since I opened that photography studio. I was like, I want to make documentary films. My goal is to be in like Sundance Film Festival one day or something like that. It depends, you have to have certain running times for certain festivals, but my goal is to go enter a film into some film festivals, Taos, Santa Fe, Telluride. Yeah. Some of the smaller ones, just see how it does. So my goal since I started a photography studio has been I want to do documentary film and be in festivals. And it's taken me, let's see, I started in 2010 and it's 2025, so 15 years to get to this culmination of I'm finally really making a real documentary that's going to be.
Wait, hold on. Say that again for the audience.
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, not 10. 15.
It is, not 5, not one freaking viral video. 15 years of
5 years
honing
short
your craft.
Of 2 decades. Yes. And it's funny, too, even just looking at old videos I do with her and what we're putting out now and stuff, it's like just in a few years I've seen my progression from editing to just all of it. And so, this is a dream that I've been chasing for 15 years, and it's finally, this year's the year it's happening. So it's kind of surreal, honestly, but...
Yeah, you keep bringing up Gary Vee, but like Gary Vee is the original, like that was I had a friend that owns Bark Lane Hill Barbershop down in Meridian on Broadway, and he goes... He just was starting out his business. I had got my hair cut from him, like by chance. I just walked in and got my hair cut when he was working at another place. Yep. And he had just started this business, and he's like, dude, he goes, do you read much? And I'm like, and I had another friend, the same thing. Like when I started out, like you need to read more. And I'm like, well, what do I read? And I, you start out with Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like all these different ones. And he goes, you need to read Crushing It by Gary Vee. And I'm like, or Crush It, or there's two of them. I think there's Crush It and Crushing It. And I ended up getting Crushing It. Okay. And then I started listening to like Lewis Howes and Grant Cardone. He was talking about him. Like he's talking about all these people who are huge now. And then I'm like, I'm going to follow him on Instagram. Because I had just started an Instagram account. Like everyone else has been in Instagram forever. And like I came to the game late. So I started looking at that. And then you just start listening to Gary and just over and over again, dude, you have time. Yep. You have time. It's like, it doesn't matter how old you are. And in this documentary we were talking about, she's helping people get pregnant and someone's 52 years old. It's like, you have time. Yep. That's all there is to it. Like I'm sitting there going, well, why would you want to have a kid at 52? But you spent your whole life trying to get pregnant and now you got pregnant. So why is that a problem? Yep. Like why do people judge that? Yeah. It's like, you don't know what those people been through. No. And there's a lot of things that go on in your life that you let stop you. So yeah. Good for them. I agree. That's my grandma used to have a saying that I live by. That is, don't ever judge people because they're just doing the best with what they got. Yeah. You have no idea what they're dealing with or what they have or don't have or lost. Right. You just got to be kind. Just understand that we're all trying to figure it out. Nobody knows. Well, and the older you get, the more you realize, our parents had no clue what was going on. Yeah. And their parents didn't either. And do you have kids? Do you have kids yet?
We don't know.
Okay. Wait till you have kids. It'll be even more apparent. You're like, what the hell is going on here? My 11-year-old is way different than my 3-year-old. And parents don't know anything. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like their whole raising of a child is an experiment. So you can sit there and tell me that you're the perfect parent, but trust me.
We were on a flight last year on our flight out to Europe. It was a night flight, and we were in the back of the plane, and right behind us is a brand new parent couple with a baby. Uh-huh. And dude, they were just like, the baby was crying and stuff. We didn't care, but you could just tell they were like, all right, what's the next plan? Like, I'll get up, I'll walk. Like they're just like trying to make it through it. And we were like, we commend you guys. If you need help, let us know.
And then you got those other people who are like, shut that baby up. You're like, dude, this is stupid. Like, you think that I told this baby to cry for you?
Yeah. Yeah, some people don't get it.
Yeah. Kids are and that's a tough one, man. Kids are nuts.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and in today's day, it's harder. I mean, when I grew up outside running around. Now there's phones, there's iPads. There's
What year did you teach?
Internet. 4th grade mostly.
But when? Like in?
That was 2008, 9.
Okay.
9, 10.
Yeah. So 4th graders don't have phones.
Nope.
So I started. Let's see. 2014, I think, was when I was teaching.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
taught middle school PE,
Oh, yeah.
and health, which is. I don't want to talk to kids about sex ed. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, that curriculum.
That was like part of that curriculum. I'm like, nope, not talking about it. Which I mean, there's people who we need to talk about it. So like that was part of the
just
problem.
not me. That's not
Just not my deal. And then I taught high school PE and I senior project class. Being in a classroom is insane.
Yep.
Like being a PE teacher, like I could sit there and like if you weren't listening and you weren't doing what you're supposed to do, 50 push-ups. Not 50, but
that's
like
cool though.
Push-ups, run, do this, do that. Don't do it. Grade goes down. Like you have a way of circumventing what they're doing.
Yep.
But when you're sitting in a classroom and a kid won't get off their phone and you take it away, and then this is kind of
now
the
it
straw
becomes
that,
like a property issue, right?
Right.
Like, that's our property. You can't take it. And then the parents get involved, and it's like
yeah.
they're enabling it, and you're like, okay.
And what are they
Are
doing
we here
in
to
class?
educate, or are we here to
Yeah,
stare at
and
our
that's the
phones?
problem. It's like the parents have become the people who run the classroom, so the teacher can't even do their job, and it's just I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I left is the limited freedom that teachers have. You're stuck to this strict curriculum. You're stuck to this. You're stuck to that. They weren't even teaching. So I was in a Title I school, so fully federally funded, right?
Yep.
And they didn't even teach science and history. It was part of literature. It was woven into the literature and writing. And I'm like, that's not science and that's not history. So you're just teaching these kids to be worker bees. Learn how to read, write, and do arithmetic so you can go work 40 hours a week.
And they can't even learn how to do that.
Yep.
They can read.
Yep.
Like my daughter's a really good reader, but when you go write, like I couldn't write well because I was sloppy, because I was lazy.
Yep.
And I mean, that might be the same thing with her, but it's
my
like
terrible handwriting.
Yeah, but the thing is like when you focus on it, like, I mean, writing a lineup card, as a baseball coach, writing a lineup card for baseball, I'm like, this writing is way better than this writing.
Yep.
Like if I screwed it up, I would start over.
Take pride in this one.
Yeah, because this has got to, like, they got to read that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing. It's like,
I mean, even college and high school, like, why don't we learn about taxes? Why don't we learn about real things that really matter? Because the more naive you are, the easier you are to control. So
yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I mean, that's life in general. But yeah, oh man, it's amazing. So tell us about what you do with Locals Only.
So I know we got a little sidetracked. So
yeah, good conversation though.
So really, it's just the idea is easy barrier to entry for marketing, for good high quality marketing. I do 2 options essentially now. So I used to do it crowdfunded through Patreon, but now I do it essentially just flat rates, either a reel for the page, or you can do the full episode, which we put on YouTube that can be embedded into your website. But the idea is that the Locals Only episodes are just kind of an overview of your story and what you're doing in your business and, kind of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
We ask pretty much similar questions every time because I want to continue a theme of like, why is small business important? Why did you choose to become a small business? What are some tips you could give to someone who's starting out? Because there's a lot, from starting an LLC to, like I said, taxes. I think personally, one of the things that I try to instill in the clients that I work with is just financial literacy. I think if you're a business owner, you really need to understand what money is, how money is created. I mean, like you said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a great book.
Yeah.
But they're on money, and the money's moving right now. It's changing. Fiat currencies are a weird thing right now. And so I just think educating yourself on what money is and how it's made and how it interacts with your business, deductions, that kind of stuff, it just makes you a lot more in control of what you're doing as a business.
Right.
That's why we start businesses, so that we can kind of decide our own things, right?
Yeah, and it's easy to get a business started, but it's not easy to know. Like, there's all kinds of nuances that go with everything. Like, I worked at Les Schwab for 11 years, and I was an assistant manager, and I worked through that, and I knew, like, I filled out this form for use tax all the time, and I sent it in, but I didn't really know what use tax was.
Yep.
Now I do, and I get that bill every month, and I got to pay it. So it's like, yeah, this is, these are things that people don't know about.
Yep.
It's a very interesting thing when people can connect and figure those things out.
Yep. And, I think the idea to start a business, anybody who starts a business, is freedom. You want to be able to, the sky's the limit if you start a business. You work a job, there's a salary, and you can only go up so far on that salary. You start a business, you could be a millionaire. You don't know. You literally have no clue until you actually try something. And so the idea of freedom in a small business ownership, part of that is you got to understand money. You got to understand how to manage your business correctly. Because like you said, you can start a business. There's a crazy stat, 50% of all businesses fail within the first 5 years or something, maybe more than that.
Yep.
But yeah, businesses fail all the time. It's hard to start something and keep it going, especially in today's day and age. Things aren't cheap. Rent's not cheap.
It's funny too, because like I have customers, we talk about like we sell exterior screen shades and they're very expensive, and customers are like, well, I'm going to wait. You know, like if I can't get it now, because it takes time to get them in. They take like 8 weeks to get here.
Yep.
And so if you didn't plan right and you didn't get it ready for summer, you're not going to have it for the summer. So we're going out giving quotes right now, and it kind of slows down at this point because they're like, well, we'll wait till next year.
Yeah.
Well, wait till next year. There's going to be an increase. It's going to cost more in January than it costs now. So do it now.
Yep.
Don't wait.
Yep. And that's forever. Like our value of our dollar has been debased. The currency is debased. So it's only going to get more expensive moving on. Your dollar's going to buy less. So like you're saying, buy the thing.
Yeah. It's not like
you're investing now, but you're saving the money. I mean, it's worth it.
We have to have seen this, like with what's going on right now with inflation. Like people don't think, oh, it's inflation. It's inflation. It's inflation. Great. It is inflation. But understand this. You think that stuff is going down in price? It's not. Like once it gets up there, why would a business owner lower the price if they can get you for that much? And we talk about supply and demand all the time, but like on the same token, it's like the demand is still there.
It's all the same. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
If your prices go up, that's because you have to pay more. Like I work with food trucks, you know, onions are up 400%, chicken's $40 more a pack. Like how is a business supposed to continue to be profitable if they stay the same and they pay more, but you're not willing to pay more while they pay more? Like we're all in this together. That's kind of the problem.
That's why a cup of coffee costs like freaking
$10.
BlackRock, because
it's $8. It's like $7 for a.
The reason why though is because they're paying, like the coffee is a little bit more, but they're paying that person to serve you the coffee more because they have to, because people can't afford to live.
Yep. Cost of living. It's a cyclical. That's why it's good to educate yourself, because it's a problem we all have to deal with forever, and it's not going away. So the better you can get, a grasp on it, I think the easier it is to navigate it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, you as well, man. I appreciate coming out.
Tell us where we can find you if people want to get business from you. Like, what can we do?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, Locals Only Idaho, 11 Productions. The website's 11productions.com. Just reach out through DM or website, however.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing the awesome mugs. That's great. I love that.
Yeah, you always need an extra mug.
Yeah, especially in here. Like, if you guys can't see it, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of good beverages.
I could hide some things pretty easily. But thanks everyone for hanging out with us. This is brought to you by my company, Shade Bros. If we're in the Treasure Valley, if you're interested in being on the show just like this, with like we did with Chad, it's awesome to talk about local businesses and help get the word out and educate them. And I'd love to have you on. So
yeah,
thank
I
you
got
for
some
taking
people
time.
I'll send your way for sure.
Yeah, that's the next thing, right? Like it's pay it forward, and that's what I always tell all my guests after we get done. Hey, who do you know? Who can hop on here with me, and we want to help them too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right.